Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and it's that time of year. We're getting closer and closer to standard rotation, where three of the the oldest expansions will be leaving standard. Those expansions are Forged in the Barrens, United in Stormwind, and Fractured in Alterac Valley. And for the third year in a row, I wanted to make a video on all the cards that you can safely kind of disenchant if you're basically still planning on playing any of these cards in Wild or in duels, because, you know, a lot of players are on a budget. They can't hold on to everything and kind of want to know, you know, what should I hold on to if I want to continue to play Wild and duels. So those are my recommendations. If you want to hold on to every card like I do, absolutely go for it. But I do know some people value this advice, considering, yeah, there's a lot of cards that will be leaving. So let's go through it class by class. We'll talk about epics and legendaries, because rares and commons are pretty cheap to make if you do decide to get rid of them. And well, starting off, we don't have to look at Death Knight because, you know, it doesn't exist, or none of the cards, it does exist, but it didn't exist when these expansions came out. So Sigil of Flame is a safe disenchant. This card has seen almost no play in standard, basically no play in Wild. Same with Vengeful Spirit, another pretty bad epic card for Demon Hunter. Definitely safe disenchant. I would even say Death Speaker Blackthorn, the Death Rattle legendary, doesn't really see play in Wild like at all. Doesn't really see play in duels. Same with Kircher's Ashfall. You basically can disenchant all the Demon Hunter cards. Demon Hunter is really bad in Wild to begin with, and yeah, none of this stuff has really ever popped off whatsoever. So yeah, just you can scrap it all, at least epics and legendaries. Guff, I gave this card 5 stars, but you can disenchant it. He's seen almost no play in standard or Wild outside of like a Drekthar combo. Not all that great. Plague Maw the Rotting absolutely can disenchant. Again, another card that has never seen realistic play anywhere. Like, it's just a pretty rough card. Lady Anaconda definitely would hold on to, especially with like the shenanigans to do with like Mechathune, even nerfed alignment and all of that. Definitely a Wild valid card. I would not disenchant Lady Anaconda. Druid of the Plains, absolutely unplayable. You can disenchant it. And Celestial Alignment, even in its state as it is playable, and they might revert it partially, or who knows. So alignment, definitely hold on to. Pretty damn good, and really not my favorite card. Kolkar Pack Runner hasn't seen any play whatsoever since it got nerfed. It might get reverted. If you want to try the reverted version, I think there's a good shot it does, but still never saw play in Wild as a 2-mana 2/3. You could probably disenchant it. Tavish, unplayable unless you're Mark. You can disenchant that one. Warsong Wrangler doesn't see play in like the Beast Hunters, but I still feel like in duels it's worth the keep. So if you're a duels centric player, you might want to hold on to this. But in terms of Wild Ladder, probably not happening. And Barak, definitely keep this card. It can see play in like Odd Hunter, Quest Hunter, all sorts of decks. Highlander Hunter, really good card, even in Wild to this day. Wildfire, if you like Ping Mage, you don't want to keep it. Hasn't been really relevant in Wild, but yeah, I would still probably hold on to it. It's a pretty sweet card, and maybe it's more sentimental to me. Arcane Luminary, really trash, hasn't done a damn thing. You've probably disenchanted that one already. Varden, definitely hold on to this. It sees play in like Reno decks. It saw play in Quest Mage. Quest Mage could come back and could see play there. Really good card. Board freezes are always valuable, so I would definitely hold on to that one. And Mordresh, same thing. Even in Wild at times, Ping Mage has been viable, and I would definitely consider holding on to Mordresh. Conviction's been unplayable. I would hold off until maybe if they do revert this one and put it back to 1, you're gonna want this card. So this one, I would wait till they announce any reverting, but if it stays at 2, you could definitely get rid of it. Veteran War Medic, have you ever seen anyone play that? You could definitely disenchant that card. Same goes with Candidate Master Smythe, not a very solid card. Cariel, really good. Even in Wild, it sees play in certain decks. I would definitely hold on to it. For Priest, Serena Bloodfeather does pop up here and there. It's not the worst card. I would certainly consider holding on to it. Condemn, there's better AoEs like Spirit Lash, kind of takes that slot for the most part. I probably would get rid of Condemn. It just isn't the effective enough in AoE, and it gets really good at 10 mana, which is pretty rare in Wild, I gotta say. If you at all want to play like Reno Priest, you want Zarella. This card is super good, and I would definitely hold on to it for Wild purposes. Against all odds, there's better AoEs. Even in Standard, there's better AoEs than this, and in Wild, definitely as well. Priest of Ansheep, again, another card I would get rid of, has seen pretty much no play. With Rogue, you can ditch Yoink, not very good, doesn't see much play. Swine Tusk Shank, Kingsbane is in Wild. You just want Kingsbane, and that doesn't even see much play. Apothecary Hellbrum, unplayable. You can disenchant it. Scabs, Nova knows how broken this is in Wild. Even with Pillager nerf and all that, I would still probably hold on to Scabs. That card is always going to lead to shenanigans. Firemancer Flurgle, this is like a requirement to play Shaman in Wild, so if you don't have it, you probably should just craft it. Chain Lightning, you don't need it. It's not very good. Burkhan never saw play, and there's a diamond version of this, but yeah, if you have the regular legendary, definitely disenchant it like I have. I don't have the regular one anymore. Lilypad Lurker is a good card, but probably just a duels card for elementals, but even that fell out a long time ago. Probably one you can disenchant, but you can consider holding on to it. It's not particularly bad. Altar of Fire does see play in some like Warlock decks here and there. You could consider it, but probably a disenchant. Tamsman, definitely keep that. Really good wild card, just a really good busted card altogether. Nero Fireblade's actually a card, and yes, you don't want to hold on to that. Baron Scavenger doesn't really see play in Wild. I wouldn't keep it, but definitely duels. That is definitely a good duels card. Same goes with Rikara, and maybe even Rush Warrior in Wild if you really want to. She's not too bad, but has kind of fallen out of favor. Rancor, you just don't play those decks in Wild. Same with Martian Elite. I would disenchant them, as well as both legendaries, Crush and Overlord Sourfang. Definitely not worth the keep. Archdruid Neralax sees 0 wild play. I would disenchant that. Mankrik was free. Blade Master sees a bit of play here and there. You could consider it. The Watch Post, definitely not. Zakis hasn't seen play like in Standard almost at all, and definitely not on Wild. Same with South Sea Scoundrel. This is an epic. You definitely don't want to keep it. Baron's Blacksmith is complete garbage. Don't keep that one. This is a free card, so we don't need to talk about that. Cargal, another bad card you don't need to keep. Mutinous, definitely hold on to, particular with Shaman. Can cheat it out for 1 or 0 mana. And Primordial Protector, I believe the regular one is disenchantable, and no, I wouldn't keep that for Wild either. For United and Stormwind, this is where things get really spicy. Final Showdown might get reverted. Even if it doesn't, it's never been meta in Wild. I probably would not hold on to it. Same goes with Lion's Frenzy, Fell Gorger. Jace is the only card I would remotely consider, and that deck hasn't worked in Wild at all, but it's just so damn powerful. I will mention that maybe you want to keep it. For Druid, Quest Druid card, I'd keep it. Quest Druid's been relevant in Wild off and on. I would definitely keep it. Same with Composting. Really solid draw card, even in Wild. Oracle the Loon, not really that powerful in Wild, but one I would probably hold on to just in case, because it can get pretty busted, and this card is absolute garbage. You can ditch it. For Hunter, Defend the Dwarven District, I'd probably hold on to it. They might even revert it, and if it gets reverted at all, it's going to be pretty damn good. So hold on to that at least until they announce reverted cards. Tarantula you can disenchant. The Rat King, sadly, you can disenchant, and same with the Rat spell here. Sorcerer's Gambit, even if they revert it, I don't think it's playable in Wild, so I would ditch it. Ignite as well. That since the Sorcerer's nerf, it's been irrelevant in Wild. Clumsy Courier is irrelevant. Antonitis, basically all the Mage cards you can disenchant. Rise to the Occasion, same thing. You don't want that in Wild. Same with Lightbringer's Hammer, Burst Blade of Rin, High Lord Floor Dragon. You can ditch all the Paladins, Epics, and Legendaries. Call the Grave you can ditch as well. Seek Guidance, I would hold on to it in Wild. It has seen play here and there, definitely worth the keep. Void Touch Attendant is absolutely insane in Shadow Priest. I would not disenchant that card whatsoever. Same with Dark Bishop Benedictus, really solid package in Wild. The whole Shadow Priest stuff works really well. Quest Rogue, absolutely not. Garrote, even if they revert it, you probably don't want to keep it. Maestra, even if they revert Null, you probably don't want to keep it, but you can consider it. Edwin's definitely a keep. Miracle Rogue is somewhat viable in Wild, and he's a big part of it. Counterfeit Blade, I probably wouldn't keep you out in Necrian Blade anyways if you're playing Deathrattle Rogue in Wild. For Shaman, Command the Elements is actually a keep. This card nerf right now is decent in Wild, and it might get reverted. I would keep Command the Elements with like the Spear of the Frog stuff. It's pretty good. Bolner, 100% would keep. Overdraft, if you're keeping this, you definitely want to keep Overdraft to go really well together. Cookie the Cook doesn't even really see play in Murloc Shaman. You probably can just ditch that card. And Tiny Toys is too slow for Evolved Shaman and Wild, so I would ditch that. Warlock, wait and see what they do with the Demon Seed. I have no idea. I really hope it's not something you want to keep, but you never know. Definitely don't want to keep Dreaded Mount. Antheron, you definitely want to keep if you're an even Warlock player. Super good there. Entitled Customer is a great like Reno Warlock card. I'd probably keep that one too. They're pretty darn good. Raid the Docks, again, wait to see if they revert some of this, but right now, not really worth keeping, but you might want to consider it. Provoke is just not worth keeping at all. Same goes with Remote Control Golem. This card never did a damn thing. Same with Lorthar. Easy disenchant. And this is a safe disenchant if you haven't already. I don't know why you're holding on to that card unless you're like me. Stockade's Prisoner, you can disenchant. The Banker, you can disenchant. The Nobleman, you can disenchant. Cheesemonger, sorry to say, you can disenchant unless you're Wow Hobbs. Cornelius, a 5-star card, you can disenchant it. Mr. Smite, I would hold on to, and it might even get reverted. Sneeds, you can definitely get rid of. And well, the Mattis Bomber, for sure you can get rid of. And Variants, really slow and wild, but there have been Reno Paladins that have run it, but you probably want to disenchant it. And lastly, we have Alterac Valley. We'll go through this quickly as well because I don't want this video to be super duper long. Sigil of Reckoning, unplayable. The hero cards, for the most part, you want to keep all of them, I think. You want to keep Purtress. Carria probably gets reverted, but still probably not playable. Same with Urzul Giants, never been good enough. Coldtooth Mine, definitely keep that. Combo decks, love it in Wild. You can ditch Mulverick, but you absolutely keep Guff, especially if they reverted, but no matter what, you keep Guff. Matriarch, you can consider if you want to play some Beast Druid. It's a little bit better in Wild, but still not really competitive. Ice Trap, you play an Even Hunter, you might want to consider it. Spring the Trap is an easy disenchant. Again, keep Tavish, it's meta in Wild, and Ikman, you could probably disenchant, it's just way too slow for Wild. Mage, Belinda, too slow. Dawngrasp, you can keep, they might even revert the hero power, you could definitely keep it. Mass Poly, you want to ditch Protectorate, and Rune is not quite as reliable in Wild, and you can actually pretty safely disenchant this one. Sadon the Scarlet, pretty underwhelming card. You can definitely disenchant it for Wild. Stonehearth, do you want this for both Wild and Duels? Really good in Duels too. Brasswing, never saw play, you can disenchant it. And Cariel, even if it doesn't go back to 7, which it might, I would hold on to her for sure. Gift of the Naru will always see a little bit of play. I think it's a safe keep. Same with Shadow Word Devourer, especially like the Inner Fire decks. Najak, again, another good card. As long as Big Priest is meta, you can definitely consider Najak. Mita, definitely way too slow for Wild. Zarella is one of the only hero cards you don't bother because Shadow Reaper Anduin is just better, so you probably don't want to bother with Zarella. You can easily disenchant. I mean, if this is in your collection, what are you doing other than being a completionist? Lobotomizer, terrible card. Forsaken might get reverted, so you might want to consider holding on to this. I forgot Carathine's a card. You can ditch it for sure, as well as Scabs. Should go back to 7, I would think, but I would not get rid of Scabs, even though it's never been super relevant in Wild. It's just too powerful. I can't recommend getting rid of it. For Shaman, Cheaty Snowballed, no good for Wild. Same with Snowball Fight. You could definitely keep Brukan. This is a meta card in Wild to this day. Baron Glacier, safe disenchant. Even in duels, it's fallen out of favor. For Warlock, I keep forgetting Sacrificial Summoner's a card. You can ditch it. Phylactery, I would hold on to it because I feel like that Mind Warlock stuff is still going to happen in Wild. Felfire in the Hole, you can ditch. Absolutely keep Tanzan. It's a relevant meta card in Wild right now. Frozen Buckler, I mean, these are warrior cards. Do I have to say you don't keep any of them? You don't keep Snowed In, you don't keep Galvangar, you probably don't even keep Rikara, but maybe that's the one you want to consider. And lastly, we have the neutrals. Ibis you can ditch, never been really a wild card. Not sure if Bounty Totem Hunter is disenchantable or not, but you don't need it. Popsicooler, absolutely not needed. Drekthar should get reverted or might get reverted, but regardless, it's free, so you don't have to worry about it. Frozen Mammoth, useless card. Korak, absolutely not worth keeping. Spammy, I always say hold on to neutral AoE. You just never know when it's going to come in clutch. Abominal's a safe ditch. Kazakhstan, I would hold off until they announce reverts. It's possible you might want to hold on to it. Local R is free, so you get to keep it. And Raid Boss, I'd probably keep it just for Druid shenanigans. You never know. So those are all the cards. I know that was really rapid fire, but I wanted to give my advice for the most part. Most of the cards, as you see, you can probably ditch, but I just wanted to give a little bit of insight. So hopefully you guys have some dust to spend on the new standard stuff coming up in the next month or two. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.